We are talking things like fruit and vegetables and mainly fish, but also clothing. What has been spared, though, are safety products like bicycle helmets and child safety seats. Now, China has responded today saying that this will affect both sides, and has reiterated by saying that, what it has repeatedly said, that there are no winners in a trade war, and that it has warned against protectionism. Now, earlier this morning, Vice Premier Liu He, who is Chinese President Xi Jinping's right-hand man and top economic advisor, convened a meeting here in Beijing to discuss what the Chinese government's response will be to Trump's announcement. Up until this point, it's been very much a tit-for-tat trade battle. We've seen China hitting back at each round of US tariffs. But this latest tariff bomb, if you'd like to call it, could deal a huge blow to Beijing. That's as far as analysts are concerned. Trump has said that if China does retaliate, he will activate another round of tariffs to the tune of $260 billion. Now, that is virtually all of what America imports from China. Now, interestingly, China only imports around $130 billion worth of American goods. So far, it's slapped hefty tariffs on $50 billion worth of products. So it's really going to run out of runway if it wants to keep retaliating. So what experts have certainly suggested to me is that China may come up with qualitative measures over quantitative measures. So what we could still see, or what we could now see, is China really putting the pressure on US companies doing business here in the country in order to tighten the screws. But of course, with China warning against protectionism today, that is really not favourable on Beijing's, as far as Beijing's concerned. So it'll be very interesting, and we are certainly waiting to see what comes out of that meeting here in the capital.
That is indeed very interesting. Where are we in terms of negotiation? Because so far it seems any attempts at negotiation has failed.
Yeah, it certainly has, and we are still waiting to hear a response from Beijing after that invitation from the US for China to come back to the negotiating table, as you sort of suggested there. The last round of tariffs were actually activated as the US and China sat down for their last round of talks, which of course they walked away from with nothing to show. And certainly there are a lot of people across the world and here in China who are very keen, very eager to see these trade war talks go ahead and come to some sort of conclusion. Obviously, this trade war has taken a huge hit to the Chinese economy. It has rattled financial markets across the globe, and there is now fear that it will take a hit to global supply chains. I've certainly been speaking to manufacturers here in China who have started saying to me that they are reassessing the way that they do things. A lot have told me in China's southern manufacturing heartland that they are now eyeing off places like Southeast Asia, Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, to see if those countries can make the products that they are making in China. We've also surprisingly heard manufacturers saying that they are now eyeing a move back home to the United States. Now, whether or not this is part of Donald Trump's plan, this sort of repatriation, is unclear, but certainly it works in his favour, particularly as this latest round of tariffs on $200 billion worth of goods, which is set to hit next Monday, will certainly, as far as experts are concerned, hit the hip pocket of American consumers.